everybody, and welcome to another installment of Mego Museum's Vintage Mego. Our subject this week is Batman. Perhaps you've heard of him. But not just any Mego Batman figure. We're going to track the history and take a deep dive into the world of the 1/6 or 12-inch Batman figures that were produced by Mego. The line began in Canada, of all places. Its birthplace was Toronto, and the distributor was named Parkdale Novelty. The 12-inch superheroes were the vision of Parkdale Novelty founder Morris Kotzer, who wanted to add more value. He saw the sales of the 8-inch figures and thought he could get a lot more money for a 12-inch figure. Mego kind of balked at creating them, so he put his money where his mouth was, and he made production happen by ordering the minimum quantity, which was quite a bit for Canada. I'll get to that later. The initial line consisted of the 4 best-selling superhero figures: Superman, Spider-Man, Robin, and of course Batman. These were not blow-ups of the 8-inch figures. These were completely redesigned with new sculpts. Because it's the late 70s now, Mego had really refined how they did things, and personally, and this is just my opinion, I think this is the finest Batman sculpt Mego ever produced. There is a photorealism to all of the 12-inch Mego superheroes that Parkdale created, and I really adore them. And of course, I was a kid who grew up in the Toronto area, so these were everywhere. The packaging pretty much just copies what Mike Jermakian did for the initial Mego World's Greatest Superheroes, with the exception of Spider-Man, which had some new artwork. This is the Mike Jermakian / Carmen Infantino box at the front. Around the back, we have a very, very crude swipe of what I believe is a Jim Aparo cover. And you can see from the back that these were, again, copied very crudely from the World's Greatest Superhero boxes. They look traced. There's a little bit of clunkiness. The 12-inch Batman by Parkdale Novelty is the most common of all of these, because basically Parkdale had inventory up until the 1990s. You could actually order these through the Diamond Select catalog through a company called Amazing Third Planet that had bought Parkdale's inventory around 1984. This included Star Trek and some Planet of the Apes, some Monsters, and the 12-inch superheroes. They had tons of Batman and Spider-Man for decades. While Mego in the US was hesitant to launch these 12-inch superheroes, their sales agents did sell them all across Europe. The 1/6 scale was still very popular in the UK and Europe thanks to Action Team, Action Force, and various knockoffs. It wasn't like the United States, where Hasbro had stopped producing G.I. Joe. Initially, a lot of these foreign distributors just slapped a sticker over the Parkdale Novelty box. You'd see Harbert or Pedigree or Burbank Toys, and it would be a Canadian box. Later on, however, there was a second version box. And I just want to start by saying there are an unbelievable amount of variations in the 12-inch Mego superheroes. I can never imagine collecting them all. I've had to limit myself because it's endless. But here is the second version box. As you can see, the artwork has been cleaned up considerably. And as you look on the back, you'll see that Neil Adams' artwork has been used. There's nothing wrong with that. Neil Adams' Continuity Studios was used in a lot of Mego product, and we're all better for it. You may notice that this 12-inch Batman figure, while almost identical to the Parkdale one, has a smaller sticker. Why, that's from the 8-inch figure. That is a legitimate variation. I have seen dozens of these. This is actually sealed, so there's no way somebody tampered with it. I'm not sure if they ran out or they made a mistake, but this exists. This is yet another variation on the 12-inch Batman. You will find this box with different distributor stickers and logos on it. It is even available in Canada with the Grand Toys logo, but good luck finding it. It is very difficult to find. I've been searching toy shows for years, and the 12-inch Grand superheroes are super tough. While these were selling wonderfully around the world, Mego in the US hadn't really committed to the 12-inch hero until 1978, when they launched Superman characters based on the movie The Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. There was a big difference, however. They bulked up the body significantly and changed all of the head sculpts. In 1979, they introduced Batman and Robin, this time with magnetic hands and feet. They also promised a magnetic Spider-Man, but for some reason that fell through, and we only got the magnetic Robin and Batman. There was a big TV ad campaign for these figures, and just like the other characters, they featured a bulky body and new head sculpts. And a lot of people are very fond of the 12-inch magnetic Batman head sculpt. It is quite good. In fact, a lot of people think it looks like Christian Bale now. Of course, that's more hindsight than anything else. The magnetic Batman and Robin were sold internationally. I have seen them in Grand Toys boxes, but didn't pull the trigger and wish I had. I've also noticed that UK distributor Pedigree sold not only the magnetic Batman and Robin, but continued to sell the original Canadian versions. I've even seen the magnetic characters in the original pink and green Batman and Robin boxes. Like I said, variations abound on the 12-inch heroes. What's most interesting about magnetic Batman is he was only sold for a single year, yet he seems to be the most commonly found. If you look in the 1980 Mego catalog, you'll notice that a new Batman is on the way for Christmas season, and he doesn't have magnetic hands or feet. He also is the rarest Mego Batman figure ever made. So why is that? Well, let me explain. In early 1980, Mego Corporation had decided they were going to buy Tonka toys. So they needed to raise capital. This was a wise move for Mego because it would basically give them a shelf space in every toy store in the world with Tonka, a known brand. So they decided to liquidate their 1979 superhero toys at a discount rate to raise capital. So, in 1979, Mego sold about $10 million worth of Mego superheroes, or about 10% of their sales. In 1980, that ballooned to $26 million. This was done again by liquidating a lot of their 1979 Mego superheroes offering, like red-carded pocket heroes and magnetic Batman and Robin. According to former VP Neil Cublin, this really hurt the superheroes brand for a couple of years for Mego. According to Cublin, prior to this, the superheroes brand had lost its bloom in the marketplace, and then they went and flooded $26 million worth of product into it. It didn't bounce back. Also, to add to their problems, the Tonka thing fell through. The hostile takeover didn't happen. And according to Cublin, things would have been a lot different if it had. So I present to you the rarest Batman figure Mego ever produced, 12-inch non-magnetic Batman. He is in a different box. We call it the purple box, and is incredibly rare. My guess is this was only produced for foreign markets that wanted it. I'm not sure it was produced in the United States. The finds I've seen are usually out of Argentina, where they had a ton of Robins for some reason, and the UK, where they do pop up. There is less than 5 of these out there that I know of. And now I'm going to end by telling you kind of a funny story about my transaction in purchasing this. I bought this at Kane County Toy Show about 10 years ago. The night before, I stayed up way too late, and my roommate in the hotel snored, last time I ever shared a room with another toy collector. My flight was late. I almost missed it. I was frazzled by the time I hit the Canadian border. I kind of looked like Ray Liotta out of the end of Goodfellas. So they immediately took a note of me and pulled me over for a complete search. I was really worried that the customs agent was going to damage my Batman doll, and he was kind of not happy with me being so freaked out and ordered me to sit down. I watched my trunk open, and then I watched packing peanuts fly all over the place. And then he just kind of walked towards me with a look of disgust and said, "You're a doll collector? Go." And I happily drove home and fell asleep for 8 hours. So there you have it, a deep dive into the world of Mego 12-inch Batman. I hope to keep finding more variants. If you have one I haven't talked about or shown, I'd love to see it. You can hit us up at megomuseum.com, where we have a thriving community, or drop us a line on the Mego Museum Facebook page. Thank you for watching. If you're new to this, I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe. Until next time, have fun and talk toys, not people. Take care.